Hey, what's up guys? John here. Hurricane Idalia is now sweeping through Florida.
This is going to be the largest storm in history, I do believe, to hit the Big Bend region.
Many people are evacuating. Many people are also staying put, saying, hey, I'm a Floridian. I'm used to storms, damage, flooding. This is just a part of everyday life here in Florida during hurricane season.
If you do choose to stay in one of the evacuation zones, first responders will not be able to get you until after the storm has passed.
But what many people don't realize is this time it's different. Homeland Security put a statement out saying that what's happening right now with all of these disasters is going to change property ownership, it's going to change property insurance to the likes of which we've never seen before. And I'm going to break it down for you clearly. I'm going to show you what's going on in Florida. I'm going to show you what's actually happening with insurance and show you how this whole game is about to be changed. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate the people about what's really going on. And if you want to fix your credit, you want to position yourself for the greatest wealth transfer of all time. Maybe you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions. You have a situation in your credit report. Don't let one problem get in the way of a bright future. One late payment can drop your score upwards of 180 points. 180 points. And as the world starts to change, banks start to contract lending, if you have bad credit or even average credit, the odds of you getting financing, being able to advance and take advantage of this wealth transfer, basically go to zero. You're going to want great credit. You're going to want to ask yourself this question. If you were a bank, would you want to lend you money? If you have bad credit, or if you have a checkered history, a checkered past, odds are you'd probably say no. Don't let banks say that same answer to you. Fix your credit. Book a call down below. GreatCreditFast.com will give you a free strategy session, see how we can help you, tell you exactly what the process would look like for your specific situation. Take a look at this. So Hurricane Idalia is expected to hit Florida as a Category 4 storm as officials warn of potential death and catastrophic devastation, right? Well, many people are leaving. Many people are leaving the state. They're going to Alabama, they're just going to Tennessee, they're going to different markets, different parts of the world, different parts of the country, just getting out of here for the time being. But look at what's happening now. 54,000 households without power, which is, not a big deal for a lot of people in Florida. This, this is just a part of living in Florida. But what's very unique and interesting is now this happened. So Florida officials provided updated lists of gas stations supplied with possible tainted gas by Citgo. So all of these gas stations, when people were told, hey, you should leave, they went to fill up their cars and trucks and vehicles, and I would bet hundreds, if not thousands of vehicles took some of this tainted fuel. I mean, if you look at how many gas stations there are, you probably have a list of 30, 40 gas stations. If each one, filled up 100 cars, you do the math. I mean, this is a huge number. And so you're going to start to see a lot of people lose a lot of money in their vehicles, basically having to go through massive repairs. But most importantly, a lot of people could attempt to leave the state and their car break down the side of the road, maybe in a really bad situation, maybe with their kids in the car. And it's a really big problem. But look at how this whole thing plays out. First, Citizens. Citizens is the largest insurance company in Florida. They insure 1.35 million policies. For context, Florida has 20 million residents, 9.3 million housing units. Now you have to remember, a good chunk of those housing units are owned by retirees, they're owned by people that investors, they're owned, no mortgage, no insurance, they're self-insuring. So a good chunk of those are. But let's just say, for example, of the 9.3 million housing units, they have 1.35 million. I mean, they have a monopoly. They have a monopoly, essentially, over the state of Florida. But what Citizens said about this storm, it's a game changer. I mean, look at this. As people across the state of Florida brace for the impact of Hurricane Idalia, it could ultimately prove a test to the state's already volatile insurance industry. Whatever Idalia might damage, every Floridian might pay. Willie Mae Gatler has never made a claim on her storm insurance, but her bill this month just about doubled. I almost cried. I even said a bad word, right? Expected and predicted for everyone in Florida with property insurance, as state lawmakers made moves to shore up private market that could take another year or so to stabilize. Back in July, Governor Ron DeSantis told the radio host, so knock on wood, we won't have big storm this summer. Then I think you're going to see some companies seeing an advantage. Right? More than 2/3 of the state's currently under a pre-Idalia state of emergency. Well, look at this, right? So Citizens, right now, they're the insurer of last resort. Galena Milberg asked Michael Petler, who works at Citizens, if there's a chance that the damage from Idalia might put Citizens in a default position. Short answer, not trying to be evasive, we just don't know. So that basically tells you that they're very, very concerned and that this possibly could, right? And so if they default, imagine what that would mean for the 1.35 million policyholders, people trying to switch to a different insurance company. It'll be a disaster. A complete disaster. New reforms are also meant to spare citizens, which now is more than 1 million customers, from carrying more risk than it can cover, facing a deal now while still paying damages from Hurricane Ian and even Hurricane Irma in the event citizens exhaust its ability to pay claims were required to levy surcharges. It's a problem. It's a big problem. Look, for example, this is Fort Lauderdale. Look at the disaster. I mean, this almost looks edited, right? That almost looks edited, but it's not, right? It's not. This is what's happening right now. You look at Fort Myers. Fort Myers, this was a disaster as well, right? Billions and billions and billions of dollars in property damage. And both of these situations happened within the last 12 months, right? Within the last 12 months. People think that, hey, insurance, might go up gradually. I think insurance is about to skyrocket. And when you have a situation in which many people move to Florida and move to these markets paying top dollar for property, paying top dollar, have a really low interest rate, 2, 3, 4% interest rate. They don't have equity in their homes. They're unable to refinance, pull money out. And every month, it's just getting more and more and more expensive. It's going to be suffocating for a lot of property owners. A lot of people are going to start walking away from their properties. A lot of investors are going to start stepping in. So look at, for example, California. California insurers must cover mudslide, right? This is from Insurance Insider, right? You start to look at this. Who will cover this damage, right? It all, of course, will depend on the policy in which you have. But if you start to look at these, Hurricane Hillary, $600 million insured loss, $600 million. And you look at this situation, right? Everyone's talking about this. They're saying $3.4 billion, right? This is what their cost could be. Economic loss is around $5.5 billion. So insurance loss, insured losses, $3.4 billion. So look at what Homeland Security said. So Homeland Security, well, first I'm going to show you this. Between 2022 and 2023, wildfires accounted for over $3.2 billion in damage across the U.S. So it's just one, and what do they blame it on? Right? This right here. And so that is going to continue to be a talking point why rates need to continue to run. And that's what's ultimately going to happen. So this is Eric Holderman, is dedicated to sharing information about world emergency management and Homeland Security, right? So the big picture, this came out 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Insurance rates will be going up for everyone. Some insurance companies will stop offering new policies for areas of high risk. Some insurance companies will withdraw from entire states, like we've seen in California, like we've seen in Florida. Insurance companies may take property inspections before they offer a policy. Governments that regulate the cost of insurance will have significant pressures from insurance companies and their constituents to reduce the cost of insurance. The cost of insurance may become prohibitively expensive. The CEO of Redfin, Glenn Kelman, came out and he made a couple statements over the last 2-3 years, saying that many people don't realize that this is going to become a major problem. People that want to sell their properties, they're selling it to a buyer that has to now enter a market with insurance rates that are continuing to climb, right? So it's going to greatly reduce the value of the certain assets in some of these markets. Development along the coast and in wildland fire areas will slow. People won't be able to get insurance to back up their needs to have it required by lending institutions. Because if you lose your insurance policy and you can't get insurance, what's ultimately going to happen is you're going to have an obligation to that mortgage company, and that mortgage company, they say you have to have insurance. So if you don't have it, it's a problem. They will either appoint a policy to you, which could be dramatically expensive, or you could walk into a legal situation. And then finally, insurance companies' rates for their own reinsurance will be going way up. The cost has to be passed to the people they insure. I think all of the above is a given. All of the above is a given. And I agree with them. I think that this is going to be a given as to what's actually going to happen. Am I saying this is the right thing? No way. But am I saying this is what's going to likely happen? Definitely. I was looking at buying a property in St. Pete Beach about a year ago. And when during due diligence, everything looked good. Everything looked great. Numbers, everything seemed fine. I was going through inspections. I spoke to an insurance company. They told me that the insurance rates for flood insurance would double. They would double. The numbers didn't make much sense after that. I canceled the deal, didn't end up buying it. And they told me that it was likely going to continue to rise in the following couple of years. So I think it's going to be a big, big game changer for coastal properties. I think it's going to be a game changer for people in the state of Florida, and I think it's going to be a game changer for America as a whole. Because many areas, whether you live in a coastal area, you live in a fire-prone area, you live in any area that they deem as high risk, all it takes is for them to deem it as high risk, then your costs are going to continue to just skyrocket. It's going to get out of control. So you look at some of these markets like Florida, cash investors, cash buyers, they're going to get ready to pounce on these deals on the back of record high interest rates coming in, paying all cash, self-insuring these properties. And they're going to make an absolute fortune. That's what I think is going to happen. I think corporations, I think deep-pocketed investors are going to start to roll through Florida and roll through a lot of these markets, paying all cash for these properties. I mean, it's going to be what we're going to witness next couple of years. When I say the greatest wealth transfer of all time, I mean it. We're seeing the wealth from the 99% flow right to the 1%. And it's a race against time. The next couple of years are going to be very, very important. So make sure you're really connecting the dots on what's actually happening. You're building out a game plan. You are investing accordingly. Maybe you're re-looking at or scaling a business. And there's a lot of things people should be doing, but the first and foremost is making sure that they have access to money. They have good credit. They're put in a position to where if they need to borrow money, they can. If they have 15, 20, 30% interest rate on a credit card, do a balance transfer. Transfer that high interest credit card debt to a 0% APR card. Why pay interest? Why pay 20 or 25% interest? Nobody's getting rich except for the person lending the money at 20, 25%. So you want to get out of debt if you have credit card debt. You want to position yourself to where you can get financing and funding. You want to put yourself in a position to where you're able to go out there and invest and make moves. The old saying is true. The real money is made when the masses are afraid. And I think very, very soon the masses are going to be scared. Another saying is money is made when there's blood in the streets. Looks like that's going to happen as well. If you need help fixing your credit, we'd love to help you. Book a free strategy session below at greatcreditfast.com. Add me on IG, and I'll catch you in the next video.